I mean, defining moment of when it happens, but they're just as defining is when you realize that it is fading and things do.
Right. And that, well, that for me is a little easier to pinpoint. My fade, if you want to call it that, happened quickly when I came out because 2008 was a very different time than 2024 is. So I was actually on Broadway in Spamalot when that happened, and I did I did the first 4 months of my run in Spamalot, and the show had sold out.
You were great,
standing
by the way.
room. Did you see it?
Yeah, with my mom.
Oh, did you?
We were big American Idol fans.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you
I've been to
very
the
much.
tour.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
No, you're legit.
So I don't know if you came in the first half, if you came the pre-coming out version of Spamalot or the post, but I look in those first 4 months that I was there, the tickets were selling out or standing room only, or the ticket sales were great. And then you can actually take a look the week that I came out publicly, the People magazine story came out, the ticket sales the next week just drop. And the show ended up closing a few months later because ticket sales went to shit. So I can see my fate a little bit better than most people can because it really happened. I'd say maybe, I don't know, I can't put a percentage on it, but 50%-ish or so of the people who had followed me prior who liked, who were fans, just sort of disappeared after I came out. So yes, you start realizing that. I had a kid at the time, so I had something far more important to me.
Totally.
When that happened. But it makes the challenge of coming back with a new album even more interesting to me because I came out and lost a bunch of followers because it wasn't okay to be gay at the time. But now in 2024, it totally is. So does that work? But now I'm really old. So it's all you learned how to navigate throughout all of it.
Disgracefully disgusting. Society?
Oh, my album is not disgracefully
No,
disgusting.
But society back then really was. It's true. Like, that is...
Well, I mean, I would say... I wouldn't call it disgusting. I would certainly say it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and shameful?
I mean, it's hard to... You're young enough to... It was a different world. Obviously, I think a lot of things that have happened in American history are shameful, certainly. And I'm glad that we don't have segregation and the level of homophobia that we have. But I look at it through the lens of the time we were in, and I think it's just ignorance. In 2008, 2003, 2008, it was just that people were not, they were ignorant and they were afraid of something they didn't understand. As people have opened themselves up and learned more and learned that they don't need to be afraid of certain things, they don't need to be made uncomfortable by things, we've gotten better. And I think it's just a matter of us constantly as a society being willing to push ourselves into places that we aren't comfortable and learn that that there's nothing to be afraid of. So, I mean, it is unfortunate, but I don't know that I have a hard time being angry about it myself because it's just, it's just the way the world was at the time.
Were you angry about it in the moment?
No, I think in the moment I was more afraid. I mean, I remember the day that the story, I had done the story and told people, come out to people, and then they took a while to write it and put it on their cover or whatever. And the day that the story broke, I remember being more nervous. I had the beginning of my Spamalot, my entrance out this tower. I was so petrified to even walk out because typically I'd go out and there'd be a lot of applause, my first entrance on the show. And I just knew I was going to pop my head out of that tower and there was going to be booing or there were going to be people who were pissed off or whatnot. And throughout that entire show that evening, I was scared that I was going to be booed at some point because of the fact that everyone had just come out. And the audience, it was Broadway, so they were much more generous there. They didn't boo me. But I remember being petrified. And for the first few months, I think I was more nervous. I didn't have time to be scared. I was too worried. I had sort of a wall up for 30 years at that point, and it didn't come crashing down. It kind of got taken down by me brick by brick. So I was too worried to be mad. And by the time I had taken the wall down, I wasn't mad. I never had time to be mad, I guess. I was too busy being worried. And by the time I was no longer worried, I had gotten over any anger that I might have had.
Well, yeah. Well, survival also takes over, right? Like you have to pivot and figure out what's next.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I realized that, but I didn't realize in the moment how much, how I told you I could look back and see I can look back now and see the ticket sales for that show going down the next week. Like I can see it now. In the moment, I didn't realize how abrupt that change had been. There was also there was so much fascination about me in the media from 2003 to 2008, and after I came out, that media interest sort of waned also, and the ability to get on this talk show or that talk show sort of petered out. And I can look back now and realize, oh, that had everything to do with they got what they wanted. They don't need my ass anymore. They're not interested. I didn't notice that at the time. It took a little bit longer for me to realize, oh, wait a second. The excitement may have had something to do with me coming out. I didn't realize it in the moment.
Interesting.
I do now. I mean, I can look back at it now and realize that's what happened. But it probably wasn't until the last few years that I recognized that I didn't honestly, and this is going to sound naive and stupid, but I did not know that my sexual orientation was such a big story at the time. I knew it was when that came out, but for the years prior, like 2006, 2007, when I just thought I was putting out albums, I didn't realize that it was the lead story on Entertainment Tonight, Is Clay Gay, in 2006. I wasn't watching the news. I was busy working. So I look back now and realize, holy shit, that was a far bigger story than I realized it was. But like I said, but it's 20 years later. I'm not mad about it. I mean, can't do anything about it now.
No, that's right. That's the right attitude. But it's also like, it's so interesting. Like the media made a whole, like the lead up. And then once they got their answer.
Right, I know. I guess I should be pissed, but I'm not. It's too late now.
God.
But listen, I look at it through the lens of, thank God that wouldn't happen now, you know? It happened to me, it happened to Lance Bass, and the two of us, and maybe, I don't know, I can't think of anybody else.
But you paved the way for so many,
Well,
genuinely.
I don't know about to say that.
Oh, you took a few bullets.
We
so
took
a lot
the
of
bullets. I don't know if we paved the way. We took the bullets. Maybe that's what it is. But it's refreshing now to see not only that people come out and are able to do it on an Instagram post and it doesn't become a story, but also that sometimes when they come out, like it makes them it improves their following, which is like great. I think that's incredible that you can have somebody who comes out as non-binary or trans or whatever, and it improve and like more people follow them for that reason. I think it's sort of ironic, frankly, but it's also shows how much progress we've made. And if you look back over the history of our country or the world even, and a lot of the struggles for human rights that have taken far, far longer, to recognize that we in the span of 15 years, 16 years, have gone from where someone could come out publicly and then sort of be ostracized afterwards to where someone could 16 years later could come out publicly and become a big celebrity outside of it. That's great progress, and I don't see anything other than positive from that.
I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anything else in American history, and like the polls will show this, where for like the opinions of the American public change so quickly and so drastically.
And it has a lot to do with, just like I said, the being open to, experiencing or learning about something that previously had made you uncomfortable or afraid.
Totally.
And I use Ellen as an example a lot because my grandmother, God bless her, God rest her soul too, but she was very confused about gayness, we'll say. When I came out to her, she wasn't sure what it really even meant, but she knew that Ellen was gay. And she liked Ellen, and she watched her show every day. And Ellen didn't talk about being gay nonstop. She did her show, and she was fun and happy. And my grandmother liked her, and so I guess I'm fine with it. And I think that it just is a lot about. And unfortunately, I think nowadays we're just so disgusting. Here's disgusting how divided we have become.
Sure.
But I see too often people on my side of an argument who will say, anybody who disagrees with me or votes differently than me, you're ostracized from my life. I'm cutting you off of Facebook. Don't talk to me. You voted for somebody who's against my rights. Fuck you. And I get the anger. I understand the anger from it, but I lament the fact that whoever's posting that doesn't understand that what gets people's minds to change is being exposed to the things they don't agree with, the things they believe they don't agree with. And if we think that we are going to have any success by cutting off or canceling anybody who we disagree with, it's just, I think it just leads to more people getting more entrenched in their own views or in their, and sometimes I think backwards views. So I hope that I would love for people to recognize that if there has been change in this last 16 years, it probably has to do with the fact that for a good portion of that, we didn't bash people over the heads with what we believed was right, but we didn't retreat. We also didn't retreat from living our lives and being ourselves openly, so that people could see that there's nothing worth hating here. There's nothing worth being afraid of.